It's just every single player in this room right now feels like NFL.
Welcome back to the American Needs Fredericks podcast, where we cover Iowa sports.
Today, we'll be ranking the position groups for the Iowa roster. It's an exciting time. We just got our depth chart, and so we thought it'd be a good time to rank all offense and defense position groups by the skill within each group, as well as the depth of it as well. As we're drinking Swarm beer today, so we're drinking our way to a championship. We highly recommend any Hawkeye fan that likes to drink and likes to win to pick up a case.
It's combining two great things.
Exactly.
Get a drink beer, and you get to have a better football team in the fall.
Yep. So I think I'll start us out. I think the position group will be the most dominant and kind of the one I see as kind of the leader of our team, and why there's a lot of excitement around the program is the defensive line. Just the depth of having 9 guys you feel comfortable with. All of them are redshirt juniors or redshirt sophomores and above. I'd say 2 of them haven't had consistent playing time.
You won't play a single guy that's younger than a redshirt junior besides Graves.
Right.
And maybe Ontario too.
Yeah.
But there's guys there's probably NFL players that are in the 3 deeps of this D-line.
Mm-hmm.
And the top end might not be all NFL, but they're 6th-year guys, 5th-year guys.
Right.
And they've played the system for long enough where it's going to flow pretty quickly.
You're bringing back 4, not just veterans, like seasoned players.
Yeah.
You got Logan Lee and Shannon have been starting since 2021. Started every game in that time period.
Started playing good football at the end of 2021.
Right.
Struggled a little bit to start, but the last year and a half, they've been like up there with the best D-tackle crew I was ever put out there.
Yeah. And then you add in Joe Evans, who's been seen time since 2019.
Yeah, I just saw him playing I was just watching the Minnesota-Iowa game back in 2019. I was like, Joe Evans is still playing.
Yeah. And then you also have Deontay Craig, which is also, essentially he's kind of that Chauncey Golston kind of timeline right now, where it seems like this could be like a Chauncey 2020 type season for Craig, where he finally gets that, that moment in the sun where he gets to be the 60% of snaps, gets every rush down.
Yeah. He's the rush guy.
If he got double-digit sacks this year, I wouldn't be surprised. So it's headlined by those veteran guys. But I think the star power of the group is Aaron Graves, where we've talked, plenty about how talented we think he's going to be. He's got, essentially like a Bosa type of build.
Yeah.
When you think of, those guys in the NFL.
He's so quick, but still in like impossibly strong.
Yeah.
He might be the strongest guy in the field every game this year.
Right. So you think of those top 5 guys, and then even the line behind that. You got Herkett, who we've seen flashes of. We've seen, Black make great plays. And you bring in transfers of Ontario Thompson and Filer. It's
and Max Lowen's been hanging around. He's going to be a redshirt.
We loved him
maybe
coming up high
redshirt
school.
Junior now.
Yeah. And so you have this really not only top heavy veteran group, but you have depth that is also proven.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely is our strongest group as a whole.
Yeah. I think if the DBs had more depth, like proven depth, I think they have young talent.
Yep.
I think they'd contend more for the spot just because they likely have more NFL players in their grouping, at least within the starters, Yeah, I think that leads in well to our next ranking. I think it's another obvious one that goes, now it's defensive backfield.
Yep, and you mentioned it. The depth is concerning, especially at corner. You're bringing in most likely, redshirt freshmen to be that third corner.
And there's going to be injuries. There's always at corner. We've said this before, but there are more injuries per capita at corner than anywhere else.
But there's a reason why we're picking them still second.
Yeah.
There's so much star potential in this group. I think Jamari Harris is kind of a forgotten player. At the end of 2021, I think we were really excited about him in 2022 until he got hurt. My guess is he gets drafted after the season around the round 3 to round 5 range, same as Ojemudia and Moss, kind of that same prototypical, not.
They'll want to turn him into a safety too, because he doesn't run. He's not super fast. There's a reason we play him in the coverage we do.
Yeah.
He's not a great press man guy.
Yeah.
So either he'll end up in that, cash position, but that's, the best players in the field. So likely he's going to end up at free safety or strong safety, but he's going to be a draft pick.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And so you have him as a draft pick, Cooper as a draft pick.
Cooper is going to go, I think they have him on betting sites around 15 over under. I bet he goes higher than that. I think he's probably the most talented Iowa DB of our lifetime by a head.
Yeah.
And he did that we have to remember he did that as a true sophomore too.
Right.
It wasn't some well-seasoned guy. He just kind of made it up on the fly and was able to dictate games in ways. I can't remember anyone else playing the way besides Desmond King.
Yeah.
But just controlling a game from a corner position is difficult to do. And he had it happen multiple times.
And I think you think about the entire secondary as a whole. You think of all the flat defenders we're going to have. And Jamari, Cooper, and Castro. Iowa loves to back up and play cover 4 and cover 6. Now those guys are going to be coming forward and playing flat defense against bubble screens.
You're playing 6 linebackers.
Right. So they really pair with the scheme as well.
Yeah.
I think that's why you rank them second, because they fit how Phil wants to play defense. He wants to back up and have his guys feel strong and essentially give no extra yardage when the tackle's made.
Well, Phil used to have a more of affinity towards strictly cover guys. You think about Manny Rugumba, not very good in run support. Reason he kind of left the Iowa program is because he's going to get pushed from guys who could tackle.
Yeah,
Matt Hankins started for 4 years, but didn't really excel in the program very well because he couldn't tackle that well. And we're asking the corners to take on blocks and tackle running backs in the flat.
Yeah.
He didn't do it very well. Now we've moved to this evolution where even the Cash has become more of a quasi linebacker than he used to be. I think going back to that Monty Hooker build rather than the Dame Belton. Dame Belton struggled in run support a little bit too.
Belton was more of a true corner. He just didn't have that physicality. He needed to play the flats as well as Castro and Hooker have. But
now you're just 6'1", 6 foot, 215 across the board.
Right.
And everyone hits and tackles well.
Yeah.
And if you don't give up big plays, it's more I talk about this, but they almost should be number one because of X is going to be the best free safety of our generation too.
Well, and you pair how Iowa football wants to play. You want to eliminate explosive plays.
Yeah.
And you want long drives. So when you pair a secondary that's most likely not going to break down just because of the veteran type of players you have at corner, and then you pair that with the defensive line that we're going to have, you're going to be required to go 10 plays against a secondary because they're not going to give up 30-yard explosive plays. And then on the start of it, you have to go get a defensive line that's most likely going to get, you're not going to be running for more than 3.5 yards to carry, 4 yards to carry max.
Yeah.
So you're going to be grinding through these possessions. And I think there's
going to be a lot of picks.
Right. And it's going to be, if you're scoring, you're going to go 12 play drives to really score in Iowa.
Yeah. It won't be, I think, teams who have a running QB and we're not, granted, we don't. So what happened a lot last year is we believe so much in our D-line. We've done this for years too. We'll line up with 5 in the box and say, run the ball, even if we know we have a good secondary behind it. I think they're going to be very comfortable leaving Cooper in cover 3 coverage to the wide side of the field and press man and saying, okay, let's roll down, have 8 in the box against these, more athletic teams, force someone to throw out some numbers against Cooper and see what happens.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
It's just a recipe for disaster for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to number 3.
Yeah, I think next one we ranked is the first offensive position group. It's going to be tight end for us. It's just every single player in this room right now feels like NFL. You start with Lachey, Ostranga, and I almost put this actually higher on our list because during Kirk's presser, I think he might have had a question afterwards, he actually brought up Stylianos as well.
Yeah.
Said he really struggled the first year. I think he was from Colgate, right?
Something like that. No, it was like Lafayette something.
Yeah, it's from Patriot League team.
Yeah.
And he struggled his first year, and he actually said, now he's actually a contributor. We're not going to have to get out of a 2 tight end set for going forward. So now you actually have 4 guys you feel comfortable with. I think Kirk highlighted him there. It means he's going to probably play.
Well, we've been desperately needing a dominant run blocking tight end. Since, Kittle and Copel and Hawkinson graduated, we've been building more lean guys who, Lachey is a big guy, but he hasn't been that exceptionally well, that good at inline blocking. And Laporte never was. That was never his talent.
Yeah.
For outside zone and the inverse play action off of it, you need a dominant tight end blocker. And Stylianos, that's what he does.
Yeah.
He came in at 260, leaned up a little bit. It's down to 250 now. So,
and this position group is so important for Iowa.
Yeah.
You think how Iowa wants to put you in a bind defensively every single play and every single possession is to question your substitution patterns. Question, do we want to go 5 DBs against a 2 tight end set, or do we want to go 3 linebackers?
Yep. And
we want you to kind of have to deal with that itch every single decision, every single play.
We're lined up even on you.
So if we consistently, have ability to play 2 tight ends we feel comfortable with, which I think we do this year, they become even more valuable because we can play how we want to play, and we can really force your hand into essentially choosing your own poison just based on your personnel. And like that's so valuable for
tight end depth is huge at Iowa too, because you will have injuries there at the position like anywhere else.
Yeah,
and we build our team so much through the talent there. That when we are weak there, our offense falls apart pretty quickly.
Definitely, you can feel it instantly.
Yeah, but Eric All and Luke Lachey both will end up being NFL draft picks. Eric All is likely has a chance to win tight end of the year in the Big Ten, maybe even the Mackey.
Yeah,
it's going to be targeted. Brian's going to draw at least 7 calls a game for him.
It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be easy for Brian to draw him up because he just go grab the 2018 playbook.
Yeah.
How did you use Noah Fant?
Yeah. Tight end is faster than linebackers and safeties.
Right. And it's usually a type of a gadget type of play where it's kind of unnatural to the offense. It's some sort of play action play. He's gonna have 20 of those where he's like, oh, I know how to use all. And it's really exciting to have. And I think that's why they're ranked third is like you have a very valuable position group, but also very talented.
If Lachey takes a step, this could be easily number one on the group too.
Yeah,
and like Lachey truly being a dominant tight end force is what's going to unlock this team going above 9 wins. Like he has to be good.
Yeah,
he can't roll out with
it's an assumption.
Yeah.
We are happy to announce a new sponsor for the ANF Podcast. The ANF Podcast is sponsored by Eye Surgeons Associates, proudly serving Eastern Iowa and Western Illinois for all your eye care needs for over 40 years.
So next group we got is offensive line.
I don't think.
Yeah, I have that. We disagree on this.
Yeah.
And I might be imbuing a little bit of expectations upon them just based on late season production, 2021, some flashes in the pan from them, as well as, I still really believe in 3 of these guys. I still really believe in Richmond. I still really believe in Colby and Logan Jones. These are the guys that,
we actually have linebackers that are going to be drafted though.
Right.
You can't say with like utmost certainty that any of the O-linemen. I think Jones, but he's not even going to be small unless he doesn't start playing better at center. He's not going to be a guy they can think about somewhere else.
Yep, and I think that's if I had to push back on that, I would say I feel very confident Logan Jones will be drafted.
I think Colby's probably the most surefire of all of them. He's so big.
Yeah, I think it's just his athleticism, and obviously he's going to break all the strength records. Like when he goes to the combine, he's going to run some crazy 40. His agility drill, his squat and bench will be crazy.
The ball won't matter though.
Yeah, I don't think we saw that issue late in the season.
It still was there.
Yeah, but even beyond that, so you have these 3 headliners, in my opinion, that kind of drive the position. They're going to be the quote-unquote NFL players out of this group. This is the first time Kirk's had 9 upperclassmen with experience in his 2 deep on offensive line. And I can't even remember last time.
Yeah.
I challenge anybody to think of the last time you looked at the 2 deep and you felt there's 9 quality players within, that had starting experience, were above the age of, redshirt sophomore. And
not 9, but we've gotten close to that before. But this is, I think this is the most talented group just because you add 2 seniors who have played a lot of football.
Yeah.
This is a good time to talk about the aspect of having transfers. Both these guys are into their last year of eligibility.
Yeah.
So what is that discussion that happens between him and the coach? In Iowa, they're not going to have this moment where they're going to be like, you're going to come here and we're going to guarantee you a starting spot.
Yeah.
I'm sure they can, put down the tea leaves and say, okay, we don't have really a talented right guard, right tackle.
Yeah.
We think you can play here. We need you to prove it first.
Right. And I don't think either Parker or Feth were sold on starting time for sure. I think obviously Feth's relationship with the position coach helps him, get here. And he realizes it's like, if I'm going to make it to the NFL, I have to break into this job anyways.
Yeah.
I'm doing myself no service staying at Miami, Ohio. Same for Parker.
And he gets paid too.
And you get a check. But they're probably betting on themselves with the aspect of, if I don't break through here, I'm not breaking in the NFL. So why don't I just do it?
Yeah.
I think that might be more
and if you stay where you're at, you're getting no money.
Right.
So it's like that's probably actually more likely to.
But I bet there's still a selling point. There's still
there is, because
we have some openings, like we struggled, like we look at our yards per carry, but I think it's more of, they might see this as an opportunity to prove themselves, and you have to believe themselves at that point, no matter what. Because if you can't break into a college room, you're not breaking into an NFL room.
Yeah, I think most guys just want to play though too.
Right.
You can't prove it unless you're playing.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think O-line. I get the depth thing you're talking about.
Yeah,
we're going to be able to survive 2 or 3 injuries without throwing a fresh face out there, which is huge because fresh face O-linemen usually lead to, especially underclassmen. Like
there's no underclassmen in play.
So That's a real benefit because we always walk out of camp with 2 injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Always have 2 more during the season.
Yeah.
I just think linebackers actually has like probably 2 or 3 pros in it right now.
Yeah. And maybe it does. I think you're kind of banking on Sherrar, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, and Cater.
Yeah. But
He'll be a 2
freshman.
deep true freshman. Put my life on it at middle linebacker.
Definitely. And obviously, I think we've talked about Nick Jackson. I've tweeted about him today. He is a bona fide middle linebacker.
I think I think for sure he's going to start at middle linebacker.
Yeah.
When we originally brought him in, we talked about it prior about him spinning the weak side spot. Then I just went back and watched his film for another 2 minutes. It's like, he's playing middle linebacker. He's a big enough guy, hits well enough, doesn't really take on blocks as much as he should, but that might not be how it's taught at Virginia.
Yeah.
That's one thing you'll have to learn is if you're having a guard come up to you, you're putting your 2 hands through his chest and then you're playing off him.
Well, that was my first reaction too, was like, I didn't like how he was positioned. I didn't like how different our schemes were than Virginia. Like, it was, they're heavily man-to-man, which really simplifies your read. But then you look at like how he plays his assignment.
His off-coverage zone was great.
Yeah, but he's always leaning. Like, he's always got this lean to him.
Yeah.
Where you can see, he senses where the play's going. He doesn't take a negative step like to the left or the right.
You don't have to make 300 tackles in college football unless you have some.
He has instincts, which is, he smells it.
Yeah.
He's got kind of that Josie kind of like, it must be from film study and then also just trusting his eyes.
Playing a ton.
But then he's got like, all right, if he sees it and smells it, he closes so fast and then he thumps at the end.
Yeah.
Like, that's when it really started getting excited. I'm like, oh, if we had this guy playing free at middle, which essentially in the Iowa system, we put the middle linebacker as the murderer of the team.
Yeah.
You will not.
He's chief.
You are the guy who we don't want you touched. Your only way you get blocked is if you get reached by a guard or off a double team.
We don't want to happen.
We're trying to play into
we play you 6 yards off the ball for a reason.
Right. And so if we have this guy who can run, probably low 4.6, high 4.5
He's
speed,
a 4.5 guy. Yeah.
and just running all over the field with no blockers. I mean, that's when I really started seeing the future of this defense going, wow, this could be.
And he's going to be clean a ton.
Right.
Because you have really good D linemen, well educated in how to play the scheme.
Yep. Eating up blocks.
At worst, you're going to play a redshirt senior Higgins or Fisher at weak, perhaps Sherrar.
Yep.
But
that's good 4 deep. It's a 2 deep, but for 4 positions.
Yeah. Rex Ross going to be
too. I think he's going to be at weak. I think we're going to see him a little bit there.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. If you want to go watch an old huddle.
Yeah.
And get excited about a player.
Rex Ross will eventually start for Iowa.
Right.
He's
he's that classic QB.
Yeah. Just a good player.
Smart player, physical, got good size.
So
if you didn't realize there, we went offensive line, then linebacker.
Yeah.
You obviously disagreed a little bit with that ranking.
Yeah, I think linebacker's way higher.
And I think for my initial expectation was that quarterback was going to be over both those. But then you kind of start looking at the rooms and just the depth of it.
You have to go depth.
If Cade gets hurt,
we're screwed.
Linebacker and offensive line, we could sustain injuries in both position groups and feel better. This is just a complete depth situation why QB is so low. But we've said enough about Cade. And I think the more I watch Cade,
there's more to say about Cade. I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. But the thing, when you watch his film in 2021, you consistently take away, man, he never loads up.
Yeah.
He keeps his feet ready. He's always,
I think another huge thing for him too is just, I watched it briefly back. Us playing him in the Big Ten title game. It's so funny when you watch that sequentially from the original highlight tape of how different Iowa plays defense than every other teams.
Yeah.
And in college football defense, you never see predominant zone.
Yeah.
But there's this one play you can go back to where he bails outside the pocket, and I think it's Donovan Edwards comes back inside on a Texas route, and he just effortlessly flings it.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a guy in his face, and he gets it. It's like
that's his best play.
Those are the most simplistic plays. They look simplistic, but to actually execute that, have no worries about it, just flawless.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to flinch a lot. And I think
it's like a point guard set. It's like a point guard sense to him where it's similar how Mahomes gets out of the pocket and he knows exactly where the play's still developing.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like he loses his cool when he leaves the pocket. He's still feeling like he feels
he's in control.
How the defense shifts to him, how they're starting to put pressure on him, and then he realizes how that opens up now the play that wasn't working originally.
Yeah.
And he does that often. I think
he can be an on-time QB too, because that's what we're going to ask him to do.
Right. That's the step up. It's the outside, the numbers throws consistently. and pushing the ball downfield. Like, he clearly shows, elite NFL ability at short to intermediate throws over the middle with like very precise accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
He can do that at the NFL level. It's 100% a fact. What he will be critiqued on is if he can push the ball downfield at, the rate we need him to, and what defenses will force him to do at some point and throw outside the numbers, which is why McCarthy eventually beat him out, plus McCarthy's legs.
Yeah.
But
if Cade was like a 4 or 5 athlete, that wouldn't really matter.
No, it wouldn't have, because he actually has...
Because then you're just Jalen Hurts.
Right.
But I mean, Hurts has a cannon, but it's not like,
Yeah, but he has... Also, I think his processing ability to McCarthy. McCarthy, like, they kind of cue up his throws.
Yeah. Oh, very much so.
Like, he's not feeling it as much as Cade is.
I always bring it up. The throw he makes against Michigan State, against Michigan, he puts a ball... He's got pressure in his face. There's a safety over the top. There's a guy playing outside, and he has a guy trailing him in man-to-man, and he puts it on. I think it might have been Eric All, of all people. Yeah.
And then, it was Andrew Anthony.
No, that's the one that put the touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, still a great throw.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to be a talented QB at Iowa. Mm-hmm. There's just no way around it. He's going to make plays we haven't seen since Beathard. It's going to be good.
Yeah, and just a leadership quality behind it.
Yeah, Deacon Hill's like definitely a step up from our usual backup QB at Iowa too.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it leads you putting him like that over running back or receiver. But I think it's time to move on to running back.
Yeah. So
second to last position group, but maybe the most talented running back we've had here.
Yeah.
Maybe the last 15 years. I can't think of someone who fits our outside zone scheme better than Caleb does.
Yeah.
Just that long stride, quick acceleration, big body. Like, if we can block outside zone this year, which is our bread and butter.
That's a huge if, though.
It's a huge if, but you don't have a better guy to run it.
No.
Like, this guy can run outside zone at an NFL level as well. Like, if you
actually give him a man in a hole with a little bit of pace on him, like, good luck. But we saw it so little last year. Mm-hmm. But when he actually gets that look, he's the best. He's Sean. I was watching a little Sean Green earlier today. It's like, it's the same thing. Sean was just unbelievable clearing his hips.
Sean didn't have that bend to his run that could clear 80.
Yeah.
And you watched the Nevada run, you watched the Nebraska run, you watched the Purdue run, all of them that went for over 40 yards. He can bend and keep acceleration simultaneously, and that's how he can house stuff. It's that Kanzeri, but this like it's a smoother run.
Straight line, yeah.
It's a smoother run,
and it's like Derrick Henry.
And gosh, if you combo a good offensive line with a guy who can bend on safeties and bend on linebackers like that, you can create an explosive offense quickly.
Yeah. Well, a run game within this current mold where you say, okay, we're going to come out and run the ball for 4.5 yards of carry. Mm-hmm. That'd be great. That'd be really high.
He had 5 yards carry last year.
Yeah, still 4.5 on every single. Yeah, right. Yeah, just because of explosive runs. But that's where we actually could have a very good Iowa team, because then all of a sudden Cade can be what he needs to be. He can be the point guard trying to complete 10-yard throws on 3rd and 5. Eric All and Lachey in the play action game are going to be dominant.
Yeah.
You can use Caleb Brown in a gadget manner. You're not trying to throw a 10-yard into Caleb Brown.
Right.
You're not trying to throw the fade route to Seth Anderson.
Yeah.
Like, if that's not our offense and it's simply we're running the ball, running play action, letting Cade make some good decisions, use his legs, then we might be good.
Yeah. Legitimately. We could move the ball.
Yeah.
So the last group, not shocking for Iowa, but it's the receiver room. But it's fun to go through this list. It gives you confidence in this team.
Yeah, we haven't hit a sad spot till receiver.
That's not that bad. It's not, but you still go. This is the best receiver we've had in the Kirk Ferentz era.
Yeah.
Highest recruiter receiver we've had in the Kirk Ferentz era is Caleb Brown.
Yeah,
and
best
maybe who was Keenan Davis? He was a high 4-star, but I don't know if he's
this guy's definitely higher.
But it gives you confidence that you are talking about the last 3 position groups, and it's your starters: Cade McNamara, Caleb Johnson, and Caleb Brown.
You know what it is? Usually by this time, so in July you're talking big smoke. Like, we have a pretty easy schedule. Mm-hmm. In August you actually get the depth chart, and you go to Iowa's depth chart, and you always would like text me like, we're gonna suck, and it's because you see something on there like,
right,
we don't have a receiver. Mm-hmm. We don't have a linebacker,
a left guard.
Right.
There's some there's some glaring either some
like
guy
10 and 2 doesn't seem insane when you do this progression.
right. And you have to stay healthy at the bottom of these position groups. Like
You do.
running back, you got to stay healthy.
Dear
Receiver,
God,
you got to stay healthy because the drop off is intense.
Yeah.
But if you can keep the top guys healthy, you can play.
Yeah. Top guys need to be healthy for the best teams.
Yeah.
Other than that, you can sit out. But just please play against Penn State, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois.
Right. And I think receiver, if you want to like talk them up into progressing, you need to see some of the young guys start playing at like a high level. I think the guy I always think about is Bostic.
Yeah.
You watch him, he had highlights in the fall, Kids Day scrimmage.
Yep.
He had some diving catch where he got hit. You could see kind of like that, that
Natural
strength,
receiver talent.
Natural receiver talent.
Yeah.
And like he got sniffed by Ohio State. He got sniffed by some bigger programs. He doesn't have the 40 time that other, guys his size do that makes them a bigger recruit, but he can jump 40 inches in the air and he's got good ball skills.
Yeah.
So he's such a different mold of every other receiver that if we
need a true X to evolve.
Right. And especially for Cade, like Cade's an accurate guy. Imagine if a big body guy, you can put the ball on.
And he's got some speed to him too.
Right. And I think that's someone like to make this receiver room
That's
better.
like your back shoulder throw guy. You want that throw it to a bigger man. You don't want to throw it. You don't want to throw it to Deontay Vines.
You need a curl guy. You need a deep end guy.
Yeah.
You
need a go route.
Yeah. You just need that. Brody Brecht was the guy.
Yeah.
And it sucks. He can throw 100 miles per hour in baseball.
Yeah.
And now he's not playing football anymore. But this is the natural guy. To line up against good teams, you need this receiver. Because Penn State, if they see 4 guys under 6 feet and none of them strong, they're going to press man all day.
Yeah.
And they're not going to blink.
Yeah.
And the Big Ten title game, if we make it there, whoever we play is going to see the same thing. So you're going to need that kind of big body guy.
Yep. Especially for the goal line too.
Definitely. So that's all the position groups.
Well, we can go through more receivers than that. We just talked about Bostic.
Yeah. Go through more. Yeah.
I mean, Caleb Brown is like you mentioned, probably the best receiver recruit in the last 40 years.
Yeah. Seriously, you're not going to find a top 100 receiver in the program.
And then Seth Anderson is actually, like, if you go out and like watch his FCS film, he is a talented receiver.
Yeah.
I think he's got such a good comp to Nico again. You see the cuts. It's the 1 foot cuts at the top of the route.
Yeah.
He runs even similar to Nico does. Yeah. But I think he's better after the catch than Nico too. And has a decent amount of jump ball, but he's not going to jump ball at D1.
I think Nico's going to actually have a big year too.
Yeah.
I think obviously we brought up Cade's strength is over the middle throws. Yeah. Short, intermediary.
Letting the guy run.
Slant routes for Nico is what he does best.
Yeah.
And Nico's always had the issue with they don't put the ball's never on him because he's not that big.
Yeah.
But every one of Cade's throws over the middle, they're in the chest.
Yeah.
They're not just like on the person or, in the frame of the catch radius, which stops your feet. He hits you in stride. And we haven't seen Nico in stride. Maybe once against Purdue this year.
Yeah.
Or he actually housed it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, Nico can play.
Yeah.
But
he's a D1 football player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you've never
you see him just stretching for a out route.
And going back to Vine, like another receiver too, Vines, like we've never seen him have the ability to make a play after the catch because
we've seen it once and he made a nice one against
Wisco. It broke a tackle, showed a little strength.
I'm just worried. I don't think we can roll into a season like if it was Vines and Nico out wide, we win 8 games.
No,
I think
maybe 9 still, just because you're going to play the way you're going to play. But I agree. If Caleb Brown wasn't on this roster, no way we say 10-2 in our season preview. No. But having that aspect of like, we can be gadgety with
Seth
him.
is going to be big too.
Yeah.
Seth will be like, he'll have to make some plays in camp and early in the season, but he will be a top 4 receiver for sure.
And another big bot, like a bigger guy than Vines and Nico. So you want Boston to be that guy, you can definitely have him be that guy as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
You want to go to the mailbag now?
Yeah. So last episode in the comment section, and we also reached out to some people on Twitter to submit mailbag questions. We're going to do 3 of them right now. We really appreciate the engagement we had. I think this is the first, it's a really good one because we talked about Wisconsin's ability to recruit higher profile quarterbacks in the season.
Or attempting to at least.
Right. That it is the goal of that program now to attract, better QB play than they've had in the past from, 20 better programs that can pitch it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And so what does Iowa program have to do to start landing and developing higher profile quarterback recruits? And I can let you start with that. But
Yeah, well, I think in the near term, if you're going to have an uptick at QB recruiting, it's going to have to occur through the transfer portal.
mm-hmm.
You're going to have to put, tape out there, numbers out there, winning QB of the year in the Big Ten, competing for the Heisman Trophy, or if you're ever going to have that. Will that ever happen in Iowa? Yeah, probably not.
Drink more of these.
Well, see, that was my next point. It's like if we develop some kind of freak NIL Iowa program,
right,
where we were like a top 15, top 10 in contributions every year, then sky's the limit for anything. Yeah. If you pay a QB enough to come in and play at Iowa, he'll come and play at Iowa. Yeah. And then that will in turn, lead to the higher level receiver recruits, likely more high profile offense. But the moment Kirk's looking at his current offensive talent and going, why would I switch out of power outside zone? It's like, right, this is what we're playing to. We have good tight ends and athletic QB who's accurate.
I would say we have moved this a little bit, is that to get more mobile QBs. So you want to get a higher profile recruit, you need to have them start running more. You need to
put the ball in their hands 70% of plays.
Just give them the ball like 8 times a game.
Yeah.
Like Michigan does it with a guy who's going to be the 3rd overall QB, maybe the 2nd overall QB, in my opinion, with McCarthy. They give him the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be a drastic change in Iowa's offense to start incorporating option reads and more option runs, option QB powers into their system. I think Kansas State would be a good, they can consistently recruit.
I don't like a QB power unless the dude's 225. Right. Unless you're Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen.
Maybe not QB power, but QB read where the guy has the ability to slide.
Yeah.
We saw
get out of bounds.
We saw Levis do it in the bowl game. Yeah. He got a slide after 5 yards.
Yeah.
If we can just incorporate more of a running aspect to our offense, then you have these QBs that can really see themselves like putting up, 60, 70 yards on the run game. And then you have the ability then to recruit these 4 stars, which we've not been able to recruit, that have legs.
Yeah.
And likely they're going to have lesser arm talent because they're a low 4-star or medium 4-star.
If
they have legs.
Athletic enough to play in D1 football, they're dual threat. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
And they're 4 stars.
But I think that's where I think Iowa is actually moving. You look at Iowa's most recent QB recruits, we are moving to a more an athletic build at QB. But we also need to embrace that aspect in our own offense to actually have them run a lot, because then that would kind of have the
we might see the evolution of the shotgun become a big part of Iowa's game plan this year.
We saw it a little bit more last year. Shotgun was more of a consistent formation. We
certainly when you play Levis too.
Yeah,
but I think I still think it's going to have to occur through the transfer portal.
Yeah,
to start.
I 100% agree.
If Cade has success here, there's really no reason why other guys won't follow in their footsteps. If they feel like it's a chance to win, chance to prove themselves within pro style.
Yeah,
there's a lot of value in still running pro style.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next question we got was, which player are you most looking forward to watching this year?
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I think X. Mm-hmm. I think having a guy within our scheme that is that talented.
Right.
And within our scheme, we're playing 11 on 11 every single play.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, we're not gonna just ISO our dudes and see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
How many plays we can then force guys' hands more.
Yeah.
You can roll X down and play a man-to-man on the best receiver against. You could play Cooper and X go 1-2 on their top 2 receivers.
Right.
You wouldn't feel bad about him in man-to-man against anyone.
No.
Especially good tight ends. So then how much man-to-man are we going to see because we have this second, potentially first-round draft pick?
Right. But also with TJ Hall. I like TJ Hall as a kind of nickel man-to-man corner.
If he's guarding the 3rd or 4th best receiver on a team, I feel very comfortable. Yeah. So I think X is just, you saw just a glimpse of it, like where he had a pick 6 and was the best player on the field in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And you extrapolate that across the whole season with another dude that's already made a ton of plays. It's like, man, that's exciting.
Yeah. I think the easy answer would be Cooper, but I'm not going to do the easy answer. I think the more I thought about it, I'm so excited to watch Caleb Brown.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we haven't had a receiver that's done something with the ball. Like, outside of Amir had a lot of games. A lot of good plays. Like, he was like a premier player.
We've pretty much been bone dry since Amir, though.
Yeah, and beforehand.
Yeah.
And throughout Amir's career, we had, stretches of 3 to 4 games where we didn't see him.
Yeah.
I think Brian's going to really like the ability to use Brown as a gadget. I think jet sweeps.
And a distraction.
And it's just going to be exciting to see a guy like catch the ball and you legitimately think he's going to score.
Yeah.
And I think he's got that top end ability. He's got the ability to make people miss. He's the strength to break tackles.
He's a big guy for his size.
And, if he goes, hopefully we can use him in a creative way to get him touches, but you put that guy in a lot of systems You think of, he's kind of a Kadarius Toney build,
Yeah.
where he's just some freak athlete that kind of looks like a running back.
Every gadget play you design will go to him.
Right. And
Screens,
I can't remember the last time we've thrown to a guy.
We might see the wide receiver bubble actually develop again because
Right.
he can make a guy miss an open space.
Yeah.
He will be better than a D1 corner.
Yes.
For the first time.
Yeah. The bubble's going to make
The
sense.
bubble will finally exist again.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. But
It's
yeah.
I just can't wait to watch a guy that can actually make a play.
Yeah.
And the last question we're going to do is, where would you place our offensive skill players this year against our teams over the past 10 years? So luckily enough, we actually did a look back at the last 10 years. We drafted the all-decade team. Who would you select from this team to be on that all-decade team if you can anticipate that?
Oh, to be on the all-decade team?
Yeah.
Offense or defense? Offense skill player, yeah.
So I think you kind of even lean more into Brown, definitely.
Brown's the obvious choice. And then,
right.
Or Johnson, Caleb Johnson.
I think Cade, depending on how much he wins,
it's going to be tough to beat CJ in 2015.
Right.
I mean, granted, CJ still has that Wisconsin game, so unless Cade goes wire to wire, being the best player on the field every single game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see why Cade can't reach those heights.
Right.
At least tie. You win a West title in convincing fashion. You only lose 2 games, or
you play a competitive Big Ten title game.
Yeah, play a competitive Big Ten title game. It's very possible.
Yeah.
It's crazy though. Like,
truly,
we mentioned this earlier, but it's like the skill is like the strength of this team.
Yeah. You
go top 5 skill players. You go Cade, NFL. All NFL. Lachey, NFL. Caleb Brown, gonna get a sniff no matter what.
Yeah.
You're former Ohio State receiver.
Yeah.
And then
Caleb Johnson.
Yeah. Like, gonna get drafted.
Yeah. Maybe not drafted just because running backs are not
Caleb get drafted.
But you should get look.
Yeah.
And so
I'd be very surprised if he didn't go at least 5th round.
Yeah. But I think at all 5 of those, other than tight end, just because tight end has been so low to the last decade.
But every other
you feel quarterback, running back, and receiver. This might be the 3 best players we've had.
All might have put up some freaky numbers too.
Yeah. Why not?
Why can't he have 12 touchdowns?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I think
we're in the national title.
and it's a great question because it highlights how the top end of the offensive depth chart is very exceptional.
Yeah.
And once again, those 3 position groups, quarterback, running back, and receiver, were bottom 3 or the bottom 4.
Yeah. And we always like look back on seasons like, just to have offensive skill talent.
Right.
Look back at the 2014 Iowa football team that's rolling out Cavante Martin-Manley, Mark Wiseman, and Jake Rudock, right? Rudock got a cup of coffee in the NFL, but it's like, man.
Fedorowicz. No, wait, Fedorowicz is gone. It was Ray Hamilton and Doozy. Yeah. So, well, thank you very much for submitting these questions. This will be actually our last off-season / preseason podcast.
Yep.
The next time you'll see us, we'll be doing our game preview for Utah State, as well as our game recap immediately after. And those will be probably released on Tuesday and Thursday. For each of those episodes, or at least the previews, we'll be also releasing betting lines. So look forward to getting probably 2 or 3 games from each of us, and then
and then some accompanying punishment will be also inflicted.
Yeah, because obviously if we win you money, that's a good thing. But if we lose you money,
we gotta suffer.
Yeah, you gotta inflict some punishment on us. So that's gonna be. You can look forward to that.
Yeah.
But thanks again for liking, commenting, subscribing. We're blown away again by the support we've had for this channel. It's been a really fun thing for us to do, and we're just very appreciative of all of our fans. So
second all that. Thank you so much.
Yep. Drink more Swarm beer.